There's a rumor making the rounds that could signal one of the biggest strategic shifts in the Middle East we've seen in decades. We're talking about Saudi Arabia, a kingdom whose military was built on Western hardware, now looking east for its next fighter jet. So let's break down what's really going on.
And we are not talking about small change here. The potential price tag? We're hearing as high as $6 billion. You know, a number that big, that's not just about buying some new planes. That's about making a powerful statement.
So, this is the big question we've got to ask, right? Is this just a routine fleet upgrade, some spring cleaning for their Air Force? Or are we actually witnessing a fundamental shift in Saudi Arabia's entire military and foreign policy? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into.
First, we'll get into the rumor itself. Then we'll pit the old guard against this new contender. After that, we'll dive into the game-changing technology before zooming out to see what this all means for the bigger picture, for the entire strategic map.
All right, let's get right into it. The word on the street is that the Saudi Ministry of Defense is seriously evaluating a large-scale purchase of the JF-17 Block 3. And if you don't know it, that's the fighter jet jointly developed by Pakistan and China.
Now, you have to understand why this is such a big deal. It really comes down to history. For decades, the Royal Saudi Air Force has been built almost exclusively on American and European aircraft. So a move like this isn't just a small change, it would be a massive break from tradition.
Okay, so if this new guy, the JF-17, is coming in, something's got to go, right? So what's on the chopping block? Well, all signs point to a major pillar of European air power. And that, my friends, sets up a really fascinating matchup. So if you look at their current lineup, the Saudi fleet is, no question, incredibly powerful. It's dominated by American F-15s, but they also have a big wing of European jets, like the Tornado, and importantly, the Eurofighter Typhoon. Now those F-15s, they're secure. They aren't going anywhere. But the European jets, that's where we might see a big change.
And this brings us to the main event. In one corner, you've got the established champ, the Eurofighter Typhoon, a very capable jet for sure, but it's an aging fourth-generation platform. And in the other corner, you have the new challenger, the JF-17 Block 3. It's lighter, it's newer, and it is absolutely packed with tech that comes straight out of China's most advanced fighter programs.
But here's the thing you have to get. This isn't a simple contest about which plane can fly faster or turn tighter. No. The real story, the real difference maker here, is all about the electronics. It's about the brain inside the plane. And that is where you see a huge technological gap opening up.
And it all kicks off with something called AESA radar. So think about it like this. An older radar is kind of like a single big flashlight that has to physically sweep across the sky to find something. Well, an AESA radar, that's like having thousands of tiny, super powerful flashlights that can all look in different directions at the exact same time. Instantly. It's a complete game changer in air combat. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just, wow. The Saudi Eurofighters, they're using that older, mechanically scanned radar. It's slow, it's way easier for an enemy to jam, and it can only really keep tabs on a few targets at once. But the JF-17's AESA radar, it is instantaneous. It is incredibly hard to jam, and it can track a massive number of targets all at the same time. The advantage here isn't small, it's absolutely decisive.
So where does all this cool tech come from? Well, think of it this way. You know how the best Saudi F-15s get all that awesome tech that trickles down from America's 5th-gen fighters? It's the same idea here. The JF-17 Block 3 inherits its advanced systems, its displays, its avionics, and that critical AESA radar, directly from China's top-tier J-20 stealth fighter. You're essentially getting a 5th-gen brain inside a 4th-gen body.
And what good is a super advanced brain if it's not connected to some serious muscle, right? Well, that's where the weapons come in. We are talking about the ability to completely dominate a fight from so far away you can't even see your opponent. Okay, this is the really critical part. The missiles. The Eurofighter uses the capable American AMRAAM missile, but the JF-17 fields the Chinese PL-15, which has more than double the range. Let that sink in. Double. This means a JF-17 pilot can target and fire on a Eurofighter long before the Typhoon pilot even knows they're being painted by radar. And that right there, that's the absolute heart of modern air combat. It is not about dogfighting anymore. It's all about who sees the other guy first and who shoots first from the furthest distance. And that 1-2 punch of the AESA radar and the PL-15 missile gives the JF-17 a frankly staggering advantage in this arena.
But, battles aren't just won up in the sky. They're also won on the ground, in the spreadsheets, in the budget meetings, and in the maintenance hangars. This is what we call the sustainment war.
See, the Eurofighter has a pretty well-known Achilles heel. It's incredibly expensive and complex to operate. I mean, even the countries that build it, like Germany and the UK, have struggled with really low availability rates. That means a huge chunk of their fleet is just sitting on the ground waiting for maintenance at any given time.
The JF-17, on the other hand, was designed from the ground up for lower life cycle costs. And this creates this amazing, powerful feedback loop. Just follow the logic. Lower costs mean you can afford more flying hours. More time in the cockpit leads directly to better, more proficient pilots. And better pilots create a more combat-ready Air Force, period.
So, okay, let's zoom out. When you add it all up, you've got the advanced tech, the long-range weapons, and the superior economics. This whole deal suddenly becomes way more than just buying some new airplanes. This is a move that could literally reshape the entire strategic map.
See, buying non-Western military gear often comes with fewer strings attached. Western systems can have really strict rules about how you can use them and what software you can install. A Chinese-Pakistani platform could give Saudi Arabia a lot more freedom to upgrade, integrate, and operate its forces exactly how it sees fit.
And just think about the message that sends. If a cornerstone of the Western defense market, like Saudi Arabia, successfully adopts the JF-17, it could create a domino effect. You could see other Gulf states looking east and fundamentally altering the region's arms trade for good.
Ultimately, what we're looking at is a major shift in military thinking. The JF-17 would work in what's called a high-low mix, with the big, heavy F-15s. It's the nimble partner, acting as a network sensor and shooter. It's a pivot away from a doctrine based purely on powerful airframes and toward one built on information dominance and operational flexibility.
So, look, while the deal is still just a rumor, it forces us to ask a critical question. Are we just seeing a tactical upgrade, or are we witnessing the start of a strategic pivot where information, autonomy, and affordability begin to outweigh traditional alliances and airframes? This decision could define the future of air power in the region for years to come.